As we know, Blue Lock Rivals is at an all-time low, averaging about 50,000 players, which is far less than it used to have. So I began to ask myself, what exactly made Prime Blue Lock Rivals so good? To answer that, we need to break the game down into three core categories: styles, balancing, and of course, the players themselves. Before we dive in, let me clarify something. Personally, I believe the prime era of Blue Lock Rivals was between the creation of Blue Lock Rivals to the Don Lorenzo update. Alright, with that out of the way, let's start with styles. During Prime Blue Lock Rivals, there were a bunch of styles, each one being unique and having variety. Take Yukimiya, for example, a solid dribbler with a shooting ability once awakened. It was arguably one of the best styles of that time, specializing in 1-versus-1 situations, meaning apart from 1-versus-1 situations, the player couldn't rely on the style at all. Now compare that to something like NEL Nagi today. It's stacked with a dozen shooting skills, 2 dribble moves, and of course, the trap. See the difference? The style practically plays the game for you. Sure, you could argue that as the game evolves, more styles need to be added, but the problem is when those styles are so overpowered that actual skill becomes non-existent. Every time someone receives the ball, it's just a flashbang of colors, and the older styles are therefore practically forgotten. This brings us to the next category: balancing. I'd argue that Prime Blue Lock Rivals was perfectly balanced. Sure, there were a few hiccups, but almost every style specialized in one attribute. That made it both fun and easy to counter, encouraging strategic play. What the developers need to understand is this: every style should have a weakness. Without that, there's no real way to counter anything skillfully. As more world-class styles get added, the gap only widens as players without the newest styles are left powerless. Don Lorenzo is a perfect example of how to do it right. It's a world-class style with effective moves, but each one can be countered. That's what makes it fun and skill-based, not just flashy. It added variety to the game because people could use different styles and still compete. That's exactly what made Prime Blue Lock Rivals great. You weren't forced into using the meta to enjoy yourself. Of course, not everything can be blamed on the devs. That brings us to the final category: the player base. Blue Lock Rivals has been around for a while, and with time, the expectations only grew. Players started demanding frequent updates, and if they didn't get something new every week, the game felt stale. Take Kaiser, for example. It was completely broken when it dropped. Why? Because the hype was insane. If it had launched as anything less than amazing, players would have been disappointed. The game's core mechanics are simple, so to keep people happy, devs leaned into making styles overpowered, which, as we all know, leads to its own set of issues. Back in Prime Blue Lock Rivals, we didn't have that problem. There weren't as many styles, the community wasn't as demanding, and things just felt more focused and grounded. Not only that, but the devs have to keep impressing the player base so people keep playing. It's low-key kind of a serious dilemma. That inevitably led to buggy updates, which did really backfire a lot. Apart from that, I don't think a lot could have been done. There isn't much to add, and if they start diverging from Blue Lock characters, it just wouldn't be Blue Lock Rivals anymore, would it? That's why I don't think the game was meant to be long-term. So what's the final verdict? As the player base grew, so did the demands, making it incredibly difficult to meet everyone's expectations. Prime Blue Lock Rivals was perfect because we were less experienced, styles weren't overpowered, everything was balanced, and it was just something unique we could all experience. Anyways, that's just my take. I'd love to hear what you all think. Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe.